you will feel drained and emotionally exhausted. Stress is something that everyone experiences at some point or another, and it's not until it becomes chronic stress and it interferes with our daily lives does it become harmful to your health and yourself. I've always considered myself to be a very optimistic and positive person, and it wasn't until I was working in my previous job and noticed myself being impatient, frustrated, and to be honest, quite negative. The tip of the iceberg happened when I had severe abdominal pain and had to be admitted to the hospital. And I was convinced that I had cholecystitis from gallstones. And I was in the hospital for 2 days, and they gave me medication and did so many different investigations. And none of the investigations came back with anything. I couldn't understand because I was really absolutely sure that there was something wrong with my gallbladder. At the hospital, they asked if I was really stressed due to anything, and I remember replying, no, I'm not particularly stressed. I was on my surgical rotation at that time, and I thought I was really on top of it. I had a very supportive team, and I actually really enjoyed that rotation, so I didn't think I was particularly stressed. But now looking back, I realized I had a whole year of working in the hospital environment, and a few things happened that probably led to me feeling this certain way and feeling chronically stressed, so that it manifested in physical symptoms. Not long after I went to the hospital, I went to see my doctor to explain to her what happened and to just discuss how my year has been. My doctor recognized immediately that I was burnt out, and she recommended I take 2 weeks off of work. Burnout is a real thing. I think most people don't quite understand it because it can get confused with a lot of other disorders such as anxiety, depression, fatigue from work. Burnout is a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion that is caused by prolonged and excessive stress, which occurs when you feel emotionally drained, overwhelmed, and unable to meet constant demands. Burnout happens when committed and passionate people become disillusioned with their jobs or careers, which they used to identify with and find a lot of meaning in. In this video, I'll talk about how you can identify burnout, ways you can prevent burnout, and specific examples of strategies I used or wish I had used. The World Health Organization has deemed burnout an occupational phenomenon that occurs from chronic workplace stress that is not successfully managed. It happens when there's a mismatch between the workload and the resources needed to get the work done in a meaningful way, and is a consequence of severe stress and high ideals in helping professions. It can occur in any occupation, but it's highly prevalent among doctors, nurses, and other helping professions. Symptoms you may experience with burnout include irritability, chronic fatigue, anxiety, difficulty concentrating, and insomnia. These symptoms overlap with depression. Because symptoms are similar to depression, it's very important to not self-diagnose burnout. Burnout tends to be specific to work and your relationship with work, whereas depression is negative thoughts and feelings that are related to all areas of your life, not just your work. With burnout, there also tends to be a disconnect between what you're doing for your job and career and what you actually want to be doing. If you think you may be experiencing burnout, there is a great self-test that you can do. I'll leave a link for it in the description below, but there are a few questions that you can ask yourself. In this self-assessment, there are 15 statements. and you go through each statement and rate how much you agree with that statement. Burnout has become such a prevalent matter, especially amongst doctors, that it's caused a lot of mental health problems. And this is why it's very important to proactively do things within the system and within yourself to prevent burnout. A medical diagnosis of burnout requires 3 things. 1 is a lack of energy or exhaustion. You will feel drained and emotionally exhausted, unable to cope, and you will feel like you won't have much energy. This can also manifest in physical symptoms such as feeling pain or gastrointestinal systems in your stomach or bowels, which is what I experienced. The second criteria for a medical diagnosis of burnout is feeling a mental distance from one's job, or feeling negativity or cynicism related to one's job. Generally, you would find your job increasingly stressful or frustrating. You notice yourself feeling cynical about your working conditions and colleagues, or you even start to feel numb towards your work. The third criteria is reduced professional efficacy, and this is when you start to notice that it is affecting your everyday tasks. So now that we know how to identify burnout, the first thing you probably need to do is take some time off and reevaluate. Burnout is a result of what is happening in the system, in the workplace, and that is the first thing that needs to be addressed. And second, there are things that you can do to take care of yourself and build mental resilience to prevent burnout. Systemically, stressors need to be identified in the working environment. The 3 most important things to prevent burnout in the workplace is to improve workflow efficiency, teamwork, and provide supportive leadership. So those are the systemic things that need to be addressed. Individually, you always need to take care of yourself. There are strategies that you can implement to prevent burnout for yourself. The first thing you need to do is take a step back and think about your career. What career pathway do you want to take, and what is your purpose? Find out what your why is. Why are you doing this job besides getting a paycheck? If you cannot think of reasons why you're doing this job besides getting a paycheck, you know that this career is not a long-term career for you, because it's very hard to do something long-term if there are not other benefits than just getting money. I think if you're doing it for the money, you'll get bored of it very quickly, and it'll be very hard to stay motivated, creative, and driven. Your mindset and your perspective will change how you will think and feel towards your job. Here are some examples. My 3 things for my purpose in my job would be: 1, I get to learn new things every day. 2, I get to work with patients and support them on their journey. And 3, I get to work with and surround myself with smart, driven, inspiring, and caring people. These are things that I easily forgot when I was stressed out or frustrated with my job, and I think it would have been very helpful if I had these 3 things written down on my phone so that I could look at it every time I had a difficult moment. The second thing you can do to prevent burnout is to make a plan and manage your time effectively. This is very big in helping to reduce stress and helping you develop coping strategies to prevent burnout. Make a plan every morning or even the night before you start your day. Write down all the things that you need to do the next day. Block out time to do these things. Have an hourly calendar so that you know what you need to do the next day. Having this list of things that you need to do takes away a lot of the mental load in your job. A lot of people don't take the time out to plan out and strategize, but this is actually the most important thing, and it will prepare you and set you up for success. The third thing you should do is something that people always neglect, and it is to practice self-care. You need to prioritize your mental and your physical health. Exercise regularly. Eat foods that fuel your body so that you have sustainable energy and you feel good. What foods you eat affect how you feel and your mental health. Get your needed time for sleep and rest. Make sure you sleep 7 to 8 hours every day and always make time for family and friends. Block it out in your schedule, because if you don't, you won't do it. Because life gets busy, and this is how burnout happens, is that people forget to take care of themselves and their needs. The last strategy to prevent burnout is to build relationships with the people you work with. This requires trust and open communication with your team members. If you have that trust, open communication with your team members, you can depend and rely on them when things get tough. You can address inefficiencies, things that aren't working, and improve on them. So to summarize, ways to prevent burnout. First, it needs to be done systemically in the workplace, because it's the environment and not the individuals that cause burnout. And things that you can do for yourself. First strategy, think about your career and purpose. Second strategy is have a plan and manage your time effectively. Third strategy to prevent burnout is prioritize your mental and physical health. And the fourth strategy is to build relationships with your team. Remember to take care of yourself. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks everyone. Bye.